Hello, Moonlights. How do you do? Sorry about design changes, by the way. It'll happen a lot in my work and style. Anyway, I meant to work on this video yesterday, but I was out with my parents and busy the majority of the day. But now, I have the time to work. School for me is done for winter break right now. So, I was able to get a one-day early showing of Sonic 3. Let me be honest with y'all. It was great, and is the best Sonic movie yet. I kid you not when I say I was screaming with excitement and crying tears of joy when I saw the next two T's characters. It's usually never me to scream in a theater, but who can blame me? Warning: this video contains spoilers to Sonic 3. If you haven't seen any of the movies or this one, watch at your own risk or click off. Please take care. Before I fully talk about this masterpiece, let me share my main OC's journey and how Sonic became my first fandom ever. I was still new to fandoms back then, everyone was. I always liked to play Sonic games with my brothers, and I was fascinated by the story way more than Mario. Sonic is better in my opinion. I actually got into Sonic way more because of the 2020 film. Kinda weird but ironic, am I right? My OC went through a lot of changes, and I truly mean a lot. I think she went from the hybrid of a cat and a hedgehog to a wolf. If I can find older pictures of how my OC used to look, I'll find them. Though I can't find the very first ones because those are on a different device that's technically broken. This is my OC now. Crazy, right? I certainly think so. My OC looks more mature now. I made my own story back then, and if I read what I remember now, y'all will cringe. Whatever, I'll just tell you what I remember because why not? So, I had the original plan of Liliana my OC and her species a wolf going extinct in the Sonic world, and Liliana basically almost had the same childhood story that Sonic had in the movies. I planned for that because she was rare to see, a very powerful variant of a new creature. Liliana and her siblings Sonic, Amber, and Levi had powers, unlike any had ever seen, and none of them could control it as babies. They had a hedgehog mom and a wolf dad who loved them, but they had to serve their planet in war, unfortunately and fortunately. What happened to them? Well, the parents gave Liliana and Sonic to Longclaw, and then gave Amber and Levi to someone else they know who remained anonymous. Longclaw kept Sonic and Liliana away from each other because she felt that if they interacted, their powers would be exposed and could possibly destroy more than one could think. Then, imagine that Liliana went through what Sonic went through. As a child, Longclaw would eventually take Sonic out of that world because of the dangers. The siblings were given these tech star necklaces that could beep and blink when one interacted with another. Why? So that way they can all reunite again once they're mature enough to handle their powers. If I continue, this video will be too long. Let's just say the story was different, but I kept some features, just tweaked them a bit to be better. I'm glad you stayed for that. Now let me talk about the movie. I'm going to be honest, if they didn't tease the second end credit scene where Shadow didn't die, I would have deducted points on a rating. Why? Well, Shadow is obviously a very well-loved and important character to the Sonic series, and fans would be mad if Paramount killed him off. Well, I mean, there is a saying that says, you either die a hero, or you live long enough just to see yourself become a villain. It's a very true and good saying, but if I have to be honest, they shouldn't do that to a character like Shadow. I will say though, Keanu Reeves did a great job at playing Shadow. I'm glad they got him to play the role. I once saw a comment about a rant for the movie on a ranking 2020 for films with memes video, and why the person didn't like it. I think the majority of what they said was how different the story was and why it didn't fit. Let me debunk this. So Keanu I think has mentioned before that he wanted to add a light-hearted side to Shadow while still having Shadow's same personality, and I can see why he wanted to do that. If you really think about it, Shadow isn't terribly a bad guy, he's just depressed and traumatized. When it comes to the story being different, it's because of how the first film was laid out. Paramount said they don't plan on stopping this franchise anytime soon, and are planning to make their own cinematic universe with Sonic characters. We'll get lots more shows and movies. Also, when it comes to the story being different, you can think of it like the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Spider-Man. That universe is very different from the others because Spider-Man battles with more heroes and we also focus on other heroes and not just Spider-Man, since Spider-Man usually fights alone. It doesn't bother me that Paramount is changing the story a bit. Why? Well, it's simply because this is just like another multiversal replica of the Sonic world, and they can add their differences all they want while making the story fun. I also heard that Sonic 3 gets complicated from either a critic or a fan. Let me just say this, they did that because Sonic is an action-based game, but kids obviously play those games and need to understand the story. It's laid out the way it is with dumb humor and fast action because they were trying their best to make sure kids could follow along and enjoy it. Subtracting the curse words from the movie, I think kids could keep up easily. Seriously though, why do many kids' movies today include curse words? Take Across the Spider-Verse for an example. I can't find a good MP4 converter to download the clips so I can show y'all, but Across the Spider-Verse used words like damn, hell, ass, and sex. Despite all that, good movie. Same with Sonic 3. I just found the story even more fascinating, and Sonic 3 made me appreciate the Sonic fandom more, and now I want to get back to it. Why? Well, it just reminds me of the old days, and it's always fun to revisit stuff you love. When it comes to the two post-credit scenes, I was excited like I said. We get to see Metal Sonic and Amy. Metal Sonic is pretty cool, and I'll just say that I have a love-hate relationship with Amy. She's annoying, but I was still excited to see her. I just hope she doesn't get together with Sonic at all, as Sonami is a problematic ship. I'll end the video here, as I don't have much else to say except for that it was a great movie. Now, I'll have to get back to Sonic stuff. Would you guys like to hear about my AU and characters? I'd love to share, one day. See you soon, Moonlights.